Do you want to take on a renovation project, but don't know how to sort the numbers to work out the deals from the disasters? In this video, we're going to talk roughing in budgets for renos. Okay, so one thing I want to make really clear from the outset is in no way is this a refined budget. This is not the budget that you want to trust all of your numbers on. What this is for is about roughing in the deal when you're sorting through tens or sometimes even hundreds of different projects to find out which ones are worth looking into in more detail. Now, there's an acronym I want to give you to make this a little bit easier to remember. You want to remember CAT. Now, CAT is not Crazy Cat Lady, and I wish I could actually make a dog. I'm definitely more of a dog person, but CAT stands for cost, amount, and time. These are the three sections we want to break down to understand your rough-in reno budget. So let's start with the C. The C is for cost. Now, one of the best things you can do before you even start doing your numbers on renovation projects is understand the costs involved. I sometimes talk to people that say that you need to spend $5 grand on a kitchen. I talk to people that say you need to spend 50 grand on a kitchen. A lot of the time it does depend on what your market expectations are. And if you're not too sure what I mean by market expectations, click link below. We've got a video explaining. As a renovator, one of the great skills you can have is being able to walk into a project or look at the photos online and instantly know this is going to cost X, that's going to cost Y, and really be able to put that budget together. Now, that kind of skill only comes from doing your research. You want to start to gather a base of knowledge of how much everything is going to start costing you. Now, this does take a little bit of time, and for some people, it's a really boring part of the process. But after you've gathered the information and understand how much items are actually going to cost, you'll be able to fly through these rough-in budgets in no time. If you're renovating in areas like your Turax, Burnsides, or double bays, then your market expectation is going to be much higher than if you're renovating in places that are more entry level to the market. Most of my stock that I take on is definitely entry level. So I can tell you just off the top of my head, if I'm putting together a kitchen, I can buy sinks generally for around $120. I can usually get my hands on extraction fans for around $100, $150. Knowing all of these details really help in putting together a rough budget. So what I'd really recommend you do to get your costs down pat is understand how much you can actually get these items for. Now, if you're going to get a tradesperson to do pretty much all of the work, you still really want to understand the cost, because how do you know that $300 tap set that they've just recommended isn't actually an $80 tap set that they've just put a huge markup on? Whilst everyone needs to make money, you also want to make sure that you're keeping as much of it in your pocket as you can. So make sure that you understand the cost for individual items as closely as possible. Next up, we've got amount. Now, the amount of a product you're going to need is going to greatly affect how much it's going to cost. So let's say you've just found carpet, and for your demographic, you can get away with around $25 a square meter. Well, how big is your house? Let's say around 130 square meters, just a nice little small house. So you take off roughly 30 square meters for kitchen, laundry, bathroom, that kind of stuff, and you're left with around 100 square meters. So your amount is simply $25 per square meter times your 100 square meters needed. You're going to need around what? No, wait. So you're going to need about $2,500 worth of carpet. So something that I actually like to use is a little rough-in budget sheet that we've got. Now, one of the really important things to remember with this is you don't want to go into too much detail, but you also don't want to leave it so open to interpretation that you might walk away from a deal where the numbers actually stack up, but maybe you drastically overestimated. It's really about finding a balancing act here, guys. So make sure you've got a really good understanding of what your costs are going to be for your products, and then a good rough-in as to the amount of that product you're going to need. Next up, and finishing off the CAT, is T. T is for time. Now, time is something that you're going to want to make sure that you really keep track of in this. This is going to be divided into two different sections. It's both time of tradespeople that you're going to need, which is going to bring you back to your costs as well, understanding how much each trade's roughly going to cost you, and also the time that you think it's going to take you. If you're going to take on a renovation project that's around the $500,000 mark, the difference between doing it in 6 weeks versus 6 months could be 10 grand in holding costs, depending on what kind of deposit you put down. So make sure you've got a good understanding of roughly how long it's going to take you to finish this project off, as well as how long you're going to need tradespeople for. All in all, guys, when you're putting together a rough budget, you want to understand how much things are going to cost you. Now, this is just going to be hours of walking around Bunnings, surfing the internet, and basically just doing your research on all of the different products you think you're going to need. You want to know how much of each product you're actually going to need as well, and you want to understand how long things are going to take you. Now, one big recommendation I'll give you on time as well, whatever you think it's going to take you, double it. At least double it, especially if this is your first renovation project. If you've done 3, 4, 5 before, then you've probably got a bit of a better understanding. If you think it's going to take you 6 weeks and this is your first renovation project, I'd be making sure that you've got at least 12 weeks behind you, just in case something goes wrong. Because it's renovating, guys, something almost always goes wrong. It's half of the fun and half of the, well, Actually, no, it's not really fun, but it definitely keeps things exciting. So I hope you found this renovation rough-in budget video helpful. And if you want a copy of the renovation rough-in budget sheet that we use, then simply get in contact with any of the details provided. Jack and I always love to see your comments below. We love it when you PM us as well. We've been getting a lot more questions recently, and yeah, love to stay in touch as much as we can, guys. Have an awesome week, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching that video, guys. Now, if you found that helpful, make sure to smash that subscribe button and also click the bell notification so that way every time we upload a new video, you've got another one to watch. It's coming to you straight away. Or, you know what? If you really like the video, click that one. That one's actually really good. You should watch that. This one is even better, possibly. I'm actually not sure which one it is, but it could be better. You should click it. You should click it right now. Maybe you can click that one. Whatever. Or both of them.